In this exercise, I'll show you yet another way to recolor a selection. This time, instead of dragging those little circles around inside the color wheel, we'll work with the color bars, which is another feature inside the Recolor Artwork dialog box. And what it'll allow us to do is flip the relationship between these two t-shirts. So in other words, we can make the bottom one dark and the top one light, if we're so inclined, which we will be, as you'll see. And it's a heck of a trick. It's very simple. It helps us add a little bit of variety to this illustration. I've saved my progress as recolored from group.ai, and I'm going to go ahead and create another color group, this time based on green. And so this shade of green right there seems like an analogous green to this blue. So I'll go ahead and click on it to make it active. Then I'll switch to the color guide panel, and I'll hope that I'm seeing the last shoe's harmony. But what I'm really seeing here, and you'll see it too if you've been working along with me, is 4 shades of green and then some blacks and white. And so it's going from that scarlet group that I created from these two t-shirts in the third column before I got rid of the bad colors, the colors I didn't want. So I have to go back to the swatches panel. This is kind of painful. And you click on any one of these 3 groups. It really doesn't matter. We might as well just stick with the very first one, shades of blue. So click on it to make it active, switch back to the color guide panel. Sure enough, we now have that harmony set up and ready to go, and it still remembers our green, which is great. If it doesn't, you have to go back to the swatches panel and click on that green again. But in my case, it remembered, so all I have to do is click on that little guy to set up the base color. We've got a new set of swatches. Go ahead and save them as a group by clicking on the folder icon, switch back to the swatches panel, click on that group to make it active, go up to the flyout menu and choose color group options, and then let's go ahead and name this green shades, let's say, and click OK. I'm going to go ahead and marquee this final column of t-shirts in order to select it. Then I'll click on the Recolor Artwork icon up here in the control panel. And I'll move the dialog box over to the left side of the screen so that we can see what we're doing. And I'll click green shades. Bang, done. I can click OK and I'm out of here. And this just amazes me that you can get this kind of work done this quickly inside of Illustrator. Once you've set up the color groups in advance, of course. But what if, like I said, I want to switch things out? I want the dark t-shirt to be on the bottom and the light t-shirt to be on the top. Well, I'll switch over to Edit. Oh, and I should show you, by the way, at any time, if you find yourself over your head, you make a bunch of changes. For example, you click on Brights because you're out of your mind, the Brights group right there. And then you go to the Edit panel, and then you just start goofing around with the colors, and you turn them into some sort of hideous abomination that just looks awful. And you start thinking better of it after a point. Well, you don't really have an undo inside of this dialog box, but you do have a revert, and the revert is up here. This little icon that doesn't appear anywhere else inside the software that has a little eyedropper and a page under it, and that's Get Colors from Selected Art. Well, it makes it seem like that's a tool, and you'd use it to click on a color in order to lift it. Doesn't work that way at all. It's a revert. So if you click on it, you restore your original colors. Anyway, I'm going to click on green shades again. And I'm in the edit area. That's very important. So click on the word edit if you're not. And then what I'd like you to do is switch from the smooth color wheel over to the color bars. And what's going on here, and I think it's pretty easy to see, this first color right there is the back color, the inside of the sleeves and the inside of the collar of the bottom shirt. And then the next green is the color of the inside, the interior of the bottom shirt. And then the third green is the interior of the top shirt. And the final green is the background, that is the interior of the sleeves and the collar of the top group. And so once again, by the way, whatever they may look like, the text is actually white here at the bottom. It's white set to 50% opacity. And the top text is black set to 50% opacity. So we won't be changing the text. All right, so what I want to do is I want to switch out the fabric colors. I want to switch the bottom fabric color for the top fabric color and vice versa, swap them with each other. So I'll go ahead and take this color bar and drag it onto this one, and they'll switch places like so. And so I just swap the colors that easily. Now I'll go ahead and grab this guy and drag him to the beginning of the list. Now, I'm not really going to swap these two. What's going to happen here is I'll move this guy to the beginning, and he becomes the interior of the sleeves and the collar and the bottom shirt, but everybody else gets mixed up. So I need to take this color right there and move it to the end. So I've officially swapped the two colors, and I end up getting this effect here. So I just swapped the color schemes between these two t-shirts, and now I'll go ahead and click OK. Now, because green shades is italic, Illustrator must think that I'm trying to make changes to this group. So as soon as I click OK, it's going to ask me, hey, do you want to save your changes? I don't. But even though I click on no, I still go ahead and recolor my artwork, and I end up getting this effect here, which I think looks great. And so now, that quickly, lickety-split really, I've been able to change out my blue t-shirts. So I started out with 4 dark and 4 light blue t-shirts, and I've swapped them for other colors here using the incredibly powerful and versatile recolor artwork feature here inside Illustrator.